Welcome to Common Hood. This your host, OG Simon P. I got my Dr. K.A. Shakur here, as well as my favorite Luke, my favorite Boop, my favorite man, my favorite actress, my favorite organizer, my favorite debate person that represents City Hall. City Hall.
I'm going to have to adopt you.
Mr. Khali Blunt. Hey, before I go any further, though, I wanted to say Dr. K and Shakur started coming over here, as well as Khali, because they have an interest to try to give history. And YouTube allowed a platform for them to have their message not taken to the grave on all the knowledge these two gentlemen, my two elders, have. I didn't know my brother had a book, so we just getting to know each other. But since this book is on Amazon, the Ghetto Sutras by no other than K.A. Shakur, all the way from Detroit, blessing us to be residing here in Gainesville. In a couple sentences, man, tell us what they would get out this book by going on Amazon and ordering this book. And it don't cost no $20, no $30, $40. It's in everybody affordability range to get some knowledge. Give us a little bit about the book before we get into it today.
Blessings, everybody, and Brother Simon P. It's always a blessing for you to have us here with Brother Khali, my home brother. We both from Detroit, both from Cass Tech High School. So I just wanted to just throw that in there. I wrote this book, and it's a narrow book. Many people are busy, and they don't have time necessarily to read big volumes at first. But basically, it's a book to give general information. And I have a reference of many other books that one can go to gather more information on subjects to deal with health. And one of the major issues we've had in our community is mental health and being able to function with the mind. J. Edgar Hoover said in the early 70s or late 60s that we must not allow a Messiah, Savior, to rise among the black people. And so having come up during that era as a young person, and being influenced and a part of the movement, I've watched over the last 50 years a destruction of our people, mind, body, and spirit. So I wrote this book in that keeping for us to go back to our original sciences. So I'm going to say this very slowly for everybody to understand. Yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, breathing exercises, mind-body exercises, which most people call martial arts, gymnastics, and many other surgery, pharmaceuticals, and everything dealing with medicine started in Kemet, which most people call Egypt. And the father of medicine is not Hippocrates, but Imhotep. So I like everybody, Imhotep, to Google that name and read about Imhotep, and hopefully that will inspire you to read more. That's A. B, as people of African descent, in our DNA, in our Akashic body, we have all the knowledge in the universe. So that might sound kind of extreme, but even if you don't accept it, at least consider it.
I believe it.
So lots of things have been done to destroy our people. If you notice in our communities, the amount of liquor stores, if you look in the other communities, they don't have 5 or 6, 7 liquor stores on every other block. So they use alcohol. Naturally, we know about drugs, processed foods, poisonous foods to destroy our consciousness. But if we return back to our natural state, organically, the body can heal itself, but the most important thing, our wisdom eye will open. Marijuana, for example, which people say is legal, puts a film, according to the science, according to our medicine, on the wisdom eye. We don't need any of those things. So that's another. So in this book is a how-to book. It's not just information, but it's a how-to on how to relax the mind, and a how-to book on how to step-by-step do basic breathing exercises that can relax the body. So stress is the #1 killer. So it can calm with stress, It can help with anxiety, which can help with insomnia, where we get good rest, where we deal with good focus, where we can make good decisions, not being under the influence of foreign chemicals that affect our consciousness. So in a narrow way of putting it, that's why I wrote the book.
That's what's up, man. That when you say that wisdom conscious, that the third eye we be talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Let me add one other thing. If we can get to the point that we can just be, and I don't mean no insult, but our people are killing each other. We can disagree, but we don't have to pull out a gun and shoot one another or stab or strangle one another. We have to get back to the point that we can agree to disagree in a humane way. And so a famous entertainer once said to me, when he put an album out and he had something on there that said Missing Stinks. This was in 1980, so I guess you know who that is. That's George Clinton. And I said, George, why did you put that on the inside of the album cover? And on the front, he has a pyramid of him with a process. He said, our people, what they're trying to do, our people are going to almost be less than human in the next 30, 40 years. He told me that in 1980. And that's when we start killing one another, we killing our parents. You got brothers out here killing black women like never before. We raping and abusing elders. We have reached a level that we are not even acting human anymore. And this has been designed, in my personal opinion. So we have to get back to our humanness, our divineness. So if we can just be still and know that I am, which is in the book of Psalms, among other spiritual scriptures, from there we have the answer.
Okay.
Because we had the answer when they brought us here 400 years ago, at least the majority of us were brought here 400 years ago, and we couldn't read and write. But yet most of the industry, most of the White House was not only built by, I heard it say built by slaves, but it was designed by a man named Benjamin Banneker. He designed the White House as an architect and the whole city of Washington.
Huh? Yeah, I was going to say all of D.C.
Yeah, all of D.C. And, he had Phyllis Wheatley. We had many other African Americans all the way through without any formal education. So where did that knowledge come from? In science and mechanics and engineering, because we have it locked in our DNA. And if we in our natural state, that divine creativity, African Americans affect the whole world. Hip hop affects the whole world. Jazz affects the whole world. R&B affects the whole world. Blues affects the whole world. The styles and dresses that people wear, everyone imitates what we do. And that's just on the artistic end. Not to mention what the strides we've made in medicine, even Western medicine and in science. So I'll stop at that point.
Right. Well, today we're gonna focus on the health a little bit.
Yes, sir.
So many don't know. I mentioned before that Khali has been nursing for over 20 plus years, retired and working in the trauma unit. So he probably done seen all kind of strokes, heart attacks, and everything else.
Oh, yes,
so
yes.
Before we jump into the B side, I want you to explain the A side of the Western way they handle medicine when it comes to the stress that he mentioned and high blood pressure in our community.
And let me say two things on what he was talking about. Imhotep, he mentioned. When our modern doctors here, Western trained doctors, take what they call the Hippocratic Oath, an oath to Hippocrates, who they call the Greek father of medicine. But Hippocrates went to the Nile Valley to study. He took his oath of practice to Imhotep, who was a physician, prime minister, astronomer, architect, grand vizier, poet, the man who said, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. This was a multi-genius 3,000 years before Michelangelo.
Right.
And he also mentioned the third eye. The ancient ones did intense anatomy studies, and they noticed that in amphibians, they dissected that there was a spot on the forehead that was connected with nerve tissue, just like from the eye into the brain. This spot reacting to light and dark. That's why we talk about the third eye being here, because of identifying this light active spot on the foreheads of amphibians. Now, in our brains, in that location, we have a thing called the pineal gland.
The pineal
gland at the
right.
top of the pons in the midbrain.
That was
This pineal gland, just in the 1950s, Western science began to recognize that this gland had something to do with levels of consciousness. But the ancient ones said that this was the seat of God. And this pineal gland remains supple and active throughout life in highly melanated people, but turns to spongy bone in the least melanated people. At maturity, turns to spongy bone. So there is this important distinction that sets apart the people who migrated out of Africa longest ago and got transformed by the climatic zones they were isolated in. So we need to bring them back in and reactivate their third eye.
that pineal gland.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit about the backdrop on the high blood issue and the stress that faces our communities, and a few things we can depend on with diet. Then I'd like to let Khali I'd like to let Dr. Shakur go ahead and elaborate some natural tendencies that he has with his practices to lower the blood pressure and help manage stress. He mentioned the meditation as well as some moves as he's going to show us today. So I'll let you go ahead and start off with that.
Okay. Our folks who were kidnapped here were forced to do an incredibly strenuous, rigorous working lifestyle. And they were given the last scraps of food to turn into something palatable, something that they would be willing to eat. These foods were high cholesterol, pork scraps, but that extreme labor did help to burn off some of the bad things about those foods. Well, we don't have that lifestyle anymore.
Right.
We do not work nearly as hard as people who worked 3,600 hours a year in the hot sun picking crops.
Yeah, we're
so
obese now.
we're not burning off that bad stuff. So we need to adapt our diet to the way that we live now. A lot of the foods that we made palatable are just not good for our health. The heavy cholesterol, the heavy fats are coating the insides of our blood cells, our blood vessels. Your blood vessels are not just passive tubes, they are machinery. And they respond to hormones and other things in the blood to know when to let out and let in certain elements and chemicals. And things like cigarette smoking and heavy cholesterol deadens the machinery of our blood vessels so that our organs stop getting what they need because our blood vessels are not functioning correctly. So we need to stop taking in all these poisons. In addition, the Food and Drug Administration in this country allows food processors to put so many chemicals into our foods that are forbidden in other high-income countries.
Yeah.
Yet we still eat this stuff. So we are corroding our bodies from the inside out with all these so-called snack foods, these food-like substances
Which carries
that
a lot
fill
of
you
sodium.
up. They fill you up without fulfilling your nutritional needs. So you're still hungry and you overeat because you're filling up with unnutritious things.
Right. What you put in your mouth goes a long way.
Yes. Yes, you are what you eat. And
will
what you eat may eat you if you eat the wrong thing.
I will say I've been trying to get off the sweets, which I didn't know it was addictive. So now I got respect for the alcoholics and the drug addicts.
Sugar is just as addictive as heroin.
Sugar's very addictive, but the potato chips as well, because all those processed stuff has plenty of chemicals.
That's right.
But for them to last on the shelf, those potato chips and things like that, they have a lot of salt in them.
Yes.
And they rot there in beautiful red, colorful bags that stimulates your advertising to say, I gotta grab this while you waiting in the line to check out your healthy foods. You're gonna always grab a sneaker. They've been around a long time, but I just recently started. I picked up one and read the back of it, and I kind of put it in a particular.
I wish
store.
everybody should read the ingredients.
Right.
Every food package you pick up, read ingredients. If there's something on there you can't keep in your kitchen, why should you put it in your body?
Yeah, why should you put it in
Everything you pick up that's prepared, it should be something you can make at home.
And every ingredient we need to know what those ingredients mean, because sometimes they're very long scientific words. So
Yes.
we need to look those words up so you know exactly what it is.
You don't have a nutritional need for sodium acid, pyrophosphate, or tetrabutyl hydroquinone.
Right.
Those are just some of the $12 words
That's right.
in some of our foods.
What has been helping me, and though I'm not where I want to be with my little pouch here, but what's helping me feeling better is just taking the approach of go to the fresh markets, buy my fruits and vegetables if I can. And if I do go to a box store, like your Publix or your Winn-Dixie or your Walmarts, well, take Walmart out. I don't try to shop in the aisles. It's a pattern in every
shop
grocery.
around the
Shop
edge.
around the edge,
Around the
and
edge.
it's a little bit more healthier choice there for you. Now, all those things that you mentioned with the stress of just trying to survive, which is constant, and then the poor diet choices we have lead to the strokes and the heart attacks, all of that are related to stress. What I like about Dr. Shakur is some of the sciences that he's studying. He's going to share some techniques, not saying that if you're on medication to stop taking your medication. He's not saying that. There's alternative ways that if you're diagnosed with these high blood pressure issues and can't relax and can't get your mind to slow down enough, he's going to share some techniques and share some things to help us with that have high blood pressure and stress. Now, everybody have a little bit of stress. I don't know. I just put gas in my car.
There's different,
that was stressful.
There's different kinds of stress.
Right.
Distress is what does you harm. There's a thing called eustress, EUSTRESS. Stress sometimes motivates you and makes you work, but you have to know how to accommodate it and to put it to use.
And know how to bottle and know you're in that state of mind at that time.
Right.
All right.
Well, in keeping with stress is considered one of the number one causes of death. It definitely serves as a catalyst for cardio issues such as strokes and heart attacks, Bell's palsy, which is a form of stroke. Also digestive issues too, because naturally most of us in the Asian, Afro-Asian medicine, the liver, we have three bodies. So people understand what I'm talking about. We have the soul or the mind body. We have the energy body. So when we talk about chi, that word chi or energy, and that pushes the blood based on the state of mind of our consciousness, moves the blood so that it nourishes the physical organs in our body. So most of us, we look at one of the major killers in our community, my African American, that's why they talk about prostate cancer, which in my opinion is a form of genocide. But we deal with stress, and a lot of the stress leads to diabetes too, and also pancreatic cancer, which is in the liver network, dealing with the sugars. And so we talked about the excessive use of sugar. Okay, so this first exercise I'm going to show addresses that.
Before you get into the exercise, brother, you mentioned you feel like something was a genocide. And I'm thinking over here myself, I had a conversation 2 days ago, and I think one person mentioned 4 different people dealing with cancer. Elaborate on that before you get into it.
In our medicine, it's called chi and blood stagnation. Okay, so again, the energy in the body is like a wind. Like there's wind outside of us that moves things. There's an inner wind that is motivated or moved by the state of our emotions or our consciousness. That wind, which people call chi, which is a Chinese word, you understand? We can just call it energy for this sake, or wind, moves the blood. So when we have certain stagnated emotions that we don't let go of over long periods of time, it stagnates the movement of blood. The blood cannot move in those areas, so therefore polyps develop. And that's what they call cancer, is what we call chi and blood stagnation. So like acupuncture, for example, acupressure, for example, basically is like a jump start. It hits those acupoints, move the stagnation. Okay, but even the exercises I'm going to show you, the breathing exercises and the movements I just call yoga, Qigong type exercises, also help maintain the complete movement of blood in the body, which we call channels.
Okay, well, Dr. Shakur, before you get into the movements, I hate to interrupt you one more time.
That's all right.
Because you teach me something right here. When you recommended the acupuncture, it's just like they say go to the doctor once a year. And if you're saying that blood need to flow through and they sticking all these beautiful needles in you and they help release those vessels so they can open up, is there a recommendation you give on how often and frequent one should try to obtain?
Well, first, I'm going to recommend that a person goes
acupuncture.
to a licensed practitioner. There, a diagnosis is done. You basically diagnose through the tongue and through the pulse. That's the basic diagnostic tools. That tells the practitioner where the blockages are. And so we have something called 14 channels, which relate to when they talk about Osiris's body was cut into 14 parts. One interpretation of that was Osiris was misusing his energy, and that his lower self set, him partaking of his lower self, he destroyed his body. So when you look at Isis feeding Horus with this finger, this is a chi finger in Tai Chi and Ji Kong, and they show that finger inside Horus's mouth. Horus became the reincarnation or the new Osiris. The new person became Horus and slew Set. That's just one interpretation. Some people view Set as being white folks and Osiris being black. You know, it's different kinds of interpretation. Right. But an energetic interpretation is the one that my teachers taught me, which I'm sharing.
Okay.
So we have 14 channels in the body according to the medicine. We have two central channels, and then we have 6 in the upper extremities and 6 in the lower extremities.
Okay.
Okay, so when one goes to a practitioner, they do the diagnosis, as I said before, and therefore they can identify what channel their blockages are. So there's a channel for the lung and large intestine. There's a channel for the heart and pericardium and small intestine and what we call triple heater. There's a channel for the bladder, the kidney and bladder. There's a channel for the stomach and spleen. Okay, there's a channel for, let's see if I miss anything, stomach, spleen, gallbladder, and liver and gallbladder, which is one channel. So a lot of times when people get angry, and we have a lot of anger that we haven't let go of. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of anger that we feel we can't do anything about, like being fired from a job, not getting a job, what racism has done, and institutional racism in particular has done, redlining as far as homes, relatives and people close to us being murdered and killed. Those types of things of grief and pain that we have to continue to live every day with. If we don't have ways in which to release this completely, it builds up. In one form, it becomes angry. A lot of people are angry. That's why a lot of times you see a lot of what we call, in the book I talk about inner violence, but there's an external violence. So people are projecting this anger and they're shooting and killing people and murdering people around them. Then we have the internal violence because the suicide rates, especially among younger people, have risen, especially in our communities. So the inner violence.
we gotta work with them with that anger.
So some
anger increases pressure.
So some of the exercises I show are very easy, and I didn't create these exercises. I'm passing on what my teachers have taught me. Okay. And I've used them I've been teaching some of these exercises 40 years, and I've seen people practice these exercises. I guess the oldest person I know was my mother. She practiced them until 102, but I've seen a lot of people in their 80s and 90s. And so that's why when I was younger, seeing those exercises and seeing the energy that my teachers that were in their 80s and 90s had, I was convinced.
Well, let's get into it.
All right, so this is real simple here. We want to spread the fingers. So these are the heart channels and pericardium channels on the inside. Mm-hmm. And basically, we relax the shoulders like we playing a piano or on the computer or eating, and we just move the wrists up and down. And we want to take the tip of the tongue and place at the roof of the mouth and close the mouth. That stimulates the nervous system. It helps with metabolism, deep breathing, and digestion. And then we bring the palms up. So this is what we call heaven and earth. So this is heaven and this is earth. Or sky and ground, however you want to. interpret it. Make sure the fingers stay spread open. Don't bend the fingers or bring them close together. Keep them spread out so we get complete circulation. So this is an exercise that people can practice and share with your family members. And this will bring the blood pressure down if it's too high and bring it up if it's too low. But one needs to practice this at least 2 or 3 times a day, at least for a few minutes.
Okay,
That's
2 or
the
3
secret
times a
behind
day,
it.
at least 4 minutes. Okay.
2 or 3 minutes at a time. And I'm just going to show one position. You can get everything you need out of this one hand position. So that's one thing. The next thing I like to show is moving the toes back and forth. I'm giving the most simplest.
Moving the toes back and forth.
That helps move the energy from the tip of the toes all the way up to the brain, and it also helps with the circulation in the lower extremities to prevent blood clots, especially for many of us that sit for long periods of time.
Are you trying to spread and then clench the toes? Like
Yeah, just take the toes and go back
just
and
like
forth.
you would do
Yeah,
your
just
fingers
like
like
that.
so. Okay.
Yeah, so this is simple to do. So when you're in church in those pews, you can do this exercise. If you're at a meeting, you can do these exercises.
Keep you
You're
from
working in
falling asleep in that meeting.
You
That's
know,
right.
I'm thinking about when you were having a flight. I remember the
Definitely.
rapper Heavy D had
That's right.
passed because of the blood clot.
That's right. I had a
And
real-
that was a long flight coming back from Africa.
definitely on the airplane, definitely on the train, definitely on the bus. Now, when's the only time you can't use it? And I'm not a great comedian. Do not do this driving. If you are driving, but you can do it as a passenger.
I do think I'm going to do mine without my shoes.
Okay. Now, the next one is this. I'm giving the most basic one, is moving the ankles back and forth. So this helps even more with the circulation.
So
And
flexing
then
and pointing the foot. Flexing and pointing the
No,
foot.
just the ankle. The foot, the toes can stay normal now.
Kind of like a calf.
Yeah.
Reach your calf a little bit as
So
well.
this helps the sciatic nerve also, strengthening the sciatic nerve. In the yoga philosophy, the sciatic nerve is the longest nerve in the body and one of the first to give out. So therefore, that helps the body and the person stand erect, among other things. Okay,
And
now we go on
I think
a
this
circle.
is off camera, so I'm gonna raise mine up
Okay.
a little bit, just to be visible.
Now we want to go on a circle.
All right.
Again, I can use my mother as an example
Now,
because
you know that the West have their exercise, what they call it for is exercising. But in your medicine, what do they call this?
this is a chi exercise.
The chi
Energy
exercise.
exercise, that's
Okay.
all. Yeah. Matter of fact, I see this now being practiced in gyms and what have you, but they definitely
It's called a warm up. They definitely call it a warm
Yeah,
up.
they definitely borrowed it from us, but it doesn't make a difference. People just
Yeah.
need to do it. The human body is the human body, period. At least as of right now, evolution hasn't changed our basic makeup. So we have 2 arms and 2 legs.
We
Yeah,
have
we rotate
we have
this
some
way.
epigenetic changes, but the basic map is still
That's
the same.
right. Basic map is the same. Then we go this way. So this is the most basic practices I like to share. There are many more, but you want to do this blood pressure.
The blood pressure.
Okay, this also helps with prevention of carpal tunnel, and it also can help with making one restful if you are stressed out. Which I'm gonna give one more.
Okay.
Intertwine the 3 fingers, the index fingers touch, the thumbs cross, bring the elbows out, and this one will put you to sleep. If one fist away, and just rock, they're real simple, just rock back and forth. You can keep your eyes open and closed, keep the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And for those people that have insomnia, those people that need to really rest, you have a lot of anxiety, you're really angry, you're upset, you need to calm down, just practice this. I've used this in many clinical situations, especially with a lot of young folks. A lot of times when they do it, they just pass out and go to sleep. And I'm going to stop right here because I don't want you guys going to sleep. But cross the thumbs rather than here. You cross
Show them that cross there.
like that. Cross
Okay.
it. This is called a mind-body mudra, but mudra means form, okay? And you're just rocking back and forth. And so this creates the energy. If you do this for 20 minutes a day, just this exercise, based on the studies that the Japanese medical associations have done, it will tonify and strengthen your whole body. Just doing this for 20 minutes straight. If one has illness or for post-operative situations, 45 minutes straight of this exercise will help one speed up the recovery based on their scientific studies.
Wow.
Or the mind-body exercise. Kochi Tohei is the one responsible for bringing this exercise to the Western world back in 1959. He was a student of Moriya Yeshiva. Okay, so I just wanted to put that in there too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And he mentioned Japanese medicine. That is an important distinction. In our country, the training our doctors get does not deal with these things that put agency with the patient. The doctors feel have
What do you
a
mean by
godlike feeling
they
that,
put agency with the patient?
that it's and that it's up to you. It's in your decision and your power to affect your health. Our doctors here, our Western doctors, want to be in charge of your health, and they want you to keep taking that medication the rest of your life. They are not thinking about how to get you off
That's right.
the medicine.
That's right.
They want you to live with it permanently.
That's right. So it's profits versus
And unfortunately, your insurance card won't allow you to go see an alternative medicine.
some do, but some
Yeah.
allow
They're
maybe
starting
a
to.
limited amount.
Yeah, they're starting to let you do acupuncture, but there's a couple of times I've received acupuncture. I wasn't asked for no test of my tongue or nothing like that. So the next time I go, next time I do any acupuncture, I will be asking about
Well, Western
that
doctors
test.
have 40 hours of training, and so they are not really skilled.
Yes.
When a person has to go to school, I had to go to school 3.5 years for my master's, 2.5 years for a doctorate, and then I'm in school for another 4.5 years. So it's in between 40 hours and 11 years.
Did you say you're in school now?
Right now, yeah, I have one more month for another medical degree. But all I'm saying is the minimum level of training is 3.5 years.
I got you.
And think
Yeah.
of the curriculum in ancient times in the Nile Valley.
20 years.
A 40-year course to study to
That's
become
right.
a son of Nos or a
right.
son of light.
Go back before we close out of here. You gave a perspective of the Western way of high blood pressure, and you gave us some exercises. But I just want to repeat one more time, Imhotep with all the different disciples and geniuses that he had for in one person. Close us out with him to make sure we understand all the things that he know. Imhotep.
Oh, Imhotep
Yep.
designed the first great pyramid, the step pyramid. So he was an architect. He was an astronomer. He described stars that we only saw, the Western world only saw since the mid 1900s forward. He was a poet. He was a grand vizier, that is a government officer. He was a philosopher. He was a multi-genius. He could do anything he set out to do.
Yeah,
And
the
that's
Greeks called
something
him- the Greeks called him Hermes Trismegistus. You remember that?
I don't remember that name. I know they also called him Asclepius.
Okay.
And that symbol you see on doctors' offices with the winged staff and the
that's right.
snakes wrapped around it, that's from Imhotep.
That's right.
Okay. I want can somebody get access to that symbol?
Yeah.
If you
It's
can,
online. The symbol's
yeah.
online.
If you can, I might go to my doctor and swipe it.
They use it. Western
Well,
medicine
yeah, I
uses
won't do
symbol,
that.
yeah.
Well, they're in a book we're going to be looking at soon.
Okay then. Well, anyway, that ends it for today. I appreciate y'all coming through. Be safe on your trip. Every day, be safe. Khali, y'all gonna have to help break this book down for me. When I started reading the first 17, 20 pages, I was like, that's a little challenge.
We'll
to
work
read
it,
for
we'll
me.
flip it, we'll reverse it, we'll do
Okay,
everything.
then. But you got to break it down so the knowledge can get passed down.
Yes.
This is Simon P. with Common Hood. We out.
All right.